Hi everyone, it's a beautiful day and I hope you are all having a great time at the comfort of your own home. This is Teacher Kevin Domingo once again, your kind of K. We can go serious, we can go funny, we can go real, we can go fancy, but every time I teach, I do it with sincerity. And this is DepEd TV! Last time, we talked about the modified Mendelian ratios, where we learned the incomplete dominance, where one allele is not completely dominant over the other, which can give us a prediction of 1:2:1 ratio among both the genotypes and the phenotypes of the offspring. Remember the red and white snapdragon flower, where the offspring's color becomes pink, where it gave us a phenotypic ratio of 1:2:1. We also talked about codominance, a pattern of heredity in which both alleles are simultaneously expressed in the heterozygote. Remember the roan cow? Another term we learned is about the multiple alleles, where a gene is controlled by more than two alleles, and an example of that is the ABO blood types. The term pleiotropy happens when one gene affects multiple characteristics. An example of a disease involving it is sickle cell anemia, where the red blood cell mutated and becomes sickle-shaped. Then we also encountered the term lethal allele, where it causes death in an individual. And finally, the term polygenic trait, where traits are controlled by multiple genes. Learners, that is how interesting genetics is. And those of you who want to become a geneticist someday, you better start reading and exploring today. A letter to Mother Earth. You have been here ever since. You are a living witness to what we go through each day. Every season, every mood, and every success. You have witnessed the birth and death of creatures, their sadness and joys, and even the indifferences. You hear the cries of those whose hearts are broken, of those whose dreams are shattered, and of those whose souls are wrenched. Sometimes, your reaction to human flaws is adding up to crisis. But sometimes too, you help pacify people who are tragic. No suffering escapes from your sight, but you are trustworthy keeper of every embarrassing plight. Mother, you really are one. You join those who grieve, and from you, they can seek relief. You have your way of rejoicing that add fervor to our gain. You delight with people's success, and we delight with how you bless. You have an array of spots to venture, for celebrations and for our tour. What makes it more interesting is that you have nothing else to do to make us every day fall in love with you. You give highlights to our achievements and put us at the peak, because whenever we are at our happiest, your beauty sparks the shinest. Every day you give color and life to all that is here, to all that is there. You provide needs and conditions that we can grab and bear. You do this with your riches that you generously share. You are the home to all kinds of being. You serve not just humans, but everything that's breathing. You never complained of attending to every creature's pleading. We want to respond by helping to what you want to be preserving. You have your own cares that we seldom give a stare, to give you a hand and dare to work with you in pair. Specifically, it's the wildlife that we should keep from strife. When human intervenes and breaks what's natural, everyone may suffer for its continuous survival. And now we hope that we all can cope with much grace and care, so that the effort will be that fair. Tell us what to do. This time, let us work for you. When it comes to Philippine wildlife, what comes to your mind? What are the animals that you can imagine and you want to see and discover? Do you know that in the Philippines, there are animals that existed long before we lived? Yes, but unfortunately, we can no longer see them anymore because they are already extinct, like the Philippine rhinoceros, the stegodons, and the dwarf buffaloes. The objective of our lesson is we are going to relate species extinction to the failure of population of organisms to adapt to abrupt changes in the environment. Extinction happens when the last member of the species dies. A species becomes extinct if it can no longer adapt to changes in the environment and consistently compete with other organisms in its environment. Adaptation, in a biological sense, is a characteristic of an organism that makes it fit for its environment or for its particular way of life. From the research entitled Cause and Consequences of Species Extinctions, the authors Soddy, Brooke, and Bradshaw 2014 concluded that although extinctions are a normal part of evolution, human modifications to the planet in the last few centuries and perhaps even millennia have greatly accelerated the rate at which extinctions occur. Habitat loss remains the main driver of extinctions, but it may act synergistically with other drivers such as overharvesting and pollution, and in the future, climate change. Large-bodied species and rare species are particularly prone to extinction as a result of rapid human modifications of the planet. Extinctions can disrupt vital ecological processes such as pollination and seed dispersal, leading to cascading losses, ecosystem collapse, and a higher extinction rate overall. Learners, I have a question, and I need your idea. We know that crocodiles, snakes, and mosquitoes causes harm once encountered and attack humans. Do you think it's better if we will just eliminate all of them?
We only know about the crocodiles, snake, mosquitoes doing harms to humans, but that's only when we disturb them and their habitats. They still help us in other ways and we need them to balance our ecosystem, so we should not eliminate them.
It's not okay to eliminate them because they are important to our ecosystem, especially in our food chain. If one of them will be eliminated, it may cause a huge impact to other species because all species play an important role in our ecosystem. It may cause the loss of other species.
In my opinion, eliminating crocodiles, snakes, and mosquitoes isn't the answer because these animals have their own roles in our environment. Maybe we humans just need to avoid them and not hurt them.
The crocodiles, snakes, and mosquitoes, shouldn't we be killing them? The fact is, everything on the face of the earth has its own purpose. Every living thing has a role, which we call its niche. So all of those things, the crocodiles, the snakes, mosquitoes, and everything, even those that we do not like, has an important role to play. They came into the world as a balanced system of relationship. This is actually called or summarized in what we call the trophic web.
So, one thing is clear. We should not eliminate all of them because they have a role in the ecosystem. Once we kill all of them, there will be an imbalance in the ecosystem. Just like what is in the song, ang lahat ng bagay ay magkaugnay. There were news about snakes found and captured in the esteros, canals, and even comfort rooms. What do you think is the reason why those snakes were found in those places?
Fact is, one, these snakes could have been pets that have been released by people who got tired of taking care of them because sometimes they have become threats to their pet owners. And so once they are released, they have to find a new home. And then also, we have destroyed their natural areas. The forest is their natural home. We have opened up the forest. We have built subdivisions and we have converted areas where they usually live. Having marginalized them, they have to find a new home. And the best way that they see now as their choice are the homes that we have built. It's just a matter of finding them every now and then when they go out to seek for their food.
Due to loss of habitat, they were pushed to find other places where they can live. We are living in a dynamic, changing environment, and most species are dependent on it. There are organisms that can easily adapt to the changing environment depending on the resistant into it. There are organisms that can adapt easily, but others are not. For our first activity, you will write a simple paragraph about the changing environment in this time of pandemic. Cite at least 3 changes that you need to adapt in order to survive in this new normal. The next activity is you will complete the table to be familiarized with the extinct animals of the Philippines. Identify their common names. Use the pool of words. Question number 1. Introduced during the Holocene period from Sabah in the reign of the Sultanate of Sulu and became extinct on Maguindanao or were transported back to Sabah, bone fragments are the only proof left behind of their existence. What extinct animal is this? A. Asian elephant or Elephas maximus. B. Stegodon luzonensis. Or C. Palawan fossil sirenia, gusong species. Question number 2.
Once roamed at some point in Pleistocene period in the plains of Luzon, Mindanao, and the entire Philippine archipelago. Unfavorable geographical conditions and human exploitation caused their extinction. What extinct animal is this?
A. Fossil murines. B. Tiger Panthera tigris species. Or C. Stegodon luzonensis. Question number 3.
Excavations in Callao Cave in the lowland Cagayan River Valley of the northeastern Luzon, Philippines have produced the first fossils of any endemic genera of species that lived during the Pleistocene period. What extinct animal is this?
A. Tiger Panthera tigris species. B. Fossil murines. Or C. Palawan fossil sirenia. Question number 4. Excavations in Callao Cave in the lowland Cagayan River Valley of northeastern Luzon, Philippines have produced the first fossils of any endemic genera
of these species that lived during the Pleistocene period. What extinct animal is this? A. Fossil murines. B. Tiger Panthera tigris species. Or C. Cebu warty pig. Question number 5. Two articulated phalanx bones and another phalanx piece were found amidst an assemblage of other animal bones and stone tools in Ilik Cave near the village of New Ibahay. From the stone tools, besides the evidence for cuts on the bones and the use of fire, it would appear that early humans had accumulated the bones. What extinct animal is this? A. Fossil murines. B. Tiger Panthera tigris species. Or C. Philippine rhinoceros.
Pens up! Let us check your work. And the answers are number 1, Asian elephant or Elephas maximus, Holocene. Number 2, Stegodon luzonensis, Pleistocene. Number 3, Palawan fossil Sirenia, Miocene. Number 4 is fossil marines, Pleistocene. Number 5, Tiger Panthera tigris species. I hope you became familiar with the extinct animals in the Philippines, even if it's just found in the picture. There are a lot to learn when it comes to species extinction and adaptation. Now, I have here sets of questions and you will match the answer to the description given. Here is set A. Number 1. From John W. Williams' research, their findings indicated that by the end of the 21st century, large portions of the Earth's surface may experience climates not found at present, and some 21st century climates may disappear. Number 2. Habitat loss and degradation affect 86% of all threatened birds, 86% of mammals, and 88% of threatened amphibians. Question number 3. Increase in population, destruction, fragmentation of habitat, pollution, and climate change or global warming. Here is set B. Number 4. They use resources that the other species depend on. Once competition gets too great, the survival of the fittest plan will begin, and one of the species, usually the natural one, will die off. Number 5. This forms when sulfur dioxide and or nitrogen oxides are put into the atmosphere. Increases the acidity of the soil, which affects plant life. It can also disturb rivers and lakes to a possibly lethal level. Question number 6. Each species has defense mechanisms like immunities and the ability to fight disease. With the changing climate and landscape, certain species are losing their ability to fend off disease. They are becoming more susceptible to disease and epidemics, which can lead to their eventual extinction. And here is set C. Number 7. The biodiversity Earth can keep up with the rapid changes in the temperature and climate. The species are not used to severe weather conditions and long seasons. Question number 8. This is the result of melting fresh water. The denser, saltier water sinks and forms the currents that marine life depends on. Ocean floor spreading and rising also affect sea level. Question number 9. The reverberations of their impact on Earth can be felt around the world. The impact site is completely destroyed. Radiation is being emitted from outer space and the sun. A supernova remnant is one source of cosmic radiation. Here are the answers for set A. Number 1 is A. Climatic heating and cooling. Number 2, C. Habitat degradation. And number 3, letter D, human causes of extinction. Here are the answers for set B. Number 4 is letter A, spread of invasive species. Number 5 is letter C, acid rain. And number 6 is letter D, disease or epidemic. And here are the answers for set C. Number 7 is letter A, climate change and global warming. Number 8 is letter B, changes in sea levels or currents. And number 9 is letter D, asteroids or cosmic radiation. This time, we are going to make an advocacy board. You have learned from the previous activity that one of the causes of extinction of species is disease or epidemics. Relating it to our present situation, do you think someday human beings will become extinct also because of diseases and pandemics? What programs or projects you would like to propose to avoid the extinction of human beings to happen? Write your advocacy program or projects in your notebook.
Make your own advocacy board. Write a slogan or motto. It should be about protecting the environment and wildlife. Post it on Facebook with the hashtag #IHeart. I will be choosing the best 3 entries to be shown and acknowledged in the next episode of DepEd TV, Your Kind of K.
I will see you again next time for another fun and exciting science lessons. This is Teacher Kevin, Your Kind of K, only here at DepEd TV.